All right, I'm with Daniel. We've just witnessed United 2, Liverpool 2. That was fun, as usual. First, Dan, how are you? And have you killed any squirrels this week?
The massacre continues unabated. No, I have killed no squirrels, but I do have more hilarious coda to the already thrilling narrative. The first thing that happened is the car that I borrowed, whose battery I ran down, get a message from a friend saying, "Is this you?" And it turns out I've been fined for not paying the congestion charge, even though I paid the congestion charge because I managed to enter his number plate incorrectly. So aside from, I was drove into town with my wife because we were going for dinner for lunch to go to the theatre, and ran out of time before our reservation. The best restaurant in London, by the way, in my opinion. I'm not a massive foodie, but I've eaten at a fair few places. Gymkhana, an Indian place, I would say is my favourite restaurant in London. So we're going there, and then we actually went to see Sarah Snook in the picture of Dorian Gray, which is also really, it was good actually. I mean, she's amazing, and the way that they kind of presented as a one woman show, the way that she performed it, and the way that they used the medium was really good fun. But we digress from one thrilling narrative to another. It cost me 55 quid to park that day. And I paid 15 quid for the congestion charge. And it now seems like I'm going to be charged more than someone who just decided they couldn't be asked to pay the congestion charge. And I got a parking ticket because I paid it for my car. So I've of course appealed both. And then the funniest thing of all is that Coda 2.
Schoolboy, that is.
Yeah, is that, so still got this car, the old car, they haven't come to collect yet. And it's got probably 120 miles of the petrol in it. So I've been driving it about, obviously, to try and use up my petrol. And I think in the process, the fucking clutch has gone. I don't know. I'm no expert, but it's pulling at about 30. And Coda 3 is, this is obviously the key part of the story, actually, is that I was in the garage, and I said to the guy, been going there for years, and I said, but I didn't know the name of the owner's son. So I said, "Oh, what's your name?" He said, "Tugai." I said, "Oh, like the footballer." And he said, "Not like the footballer. I'm named after Tugai Kerimologlu."
There must be
I do have a grudge. He was in that Galatasaray team, so the B United didn't. So I do have a grudge with him. But also, yeah, I mean, you've got to respect someone who's named after Tugai Kerimologlu, ultimately. So yeah, I have.
Fair enough. Yeah, my experience of owning a car in London is that it is just one big way of hemorrhaging money constantly. The amount of times that I had my car towed away while parked outside of my own house was quite significant. So
I've only been towed once in London, and I got there, and there was a guy who had been towed, and he was a Jamaican guy actually, and he was just doing his absolute nut, but he was doing it in such magnificent style. I do actually have a recording of it because it was just not filming, just the sound recording. It was just so good. He was just put on an unbelievable performance of focused, hilarious ire.
Since we're talking about focused, hilarious ire, it's just been announced that Joe Kinnear has died. The foul-mouthed football manager. Yeah, he had dementia and had been suffering for a long time. But truly one of the greatest press conferences ever was his press conference shortly after joining Newcastle, where he took to Simon Bird of the Mirror, criticising him in print. And I mean, you can go check it out, but the transcript is quite brilliant. And it goes something like, "Who's Simon Bird? Here, you're a cunt." And continued like that for the next 5 minutes. Quite brilliant.
A great gentleman of the game. I mean, he's one of your classic proper football men, Joe Kinnear. When you talked about focused ire, I was also sort of thinking about that equaliser. We conceded against Brentford as well. But I mean, Manchester United, man, what the fuck is this?
They'll do it for you, won't they? Yeah. It was looking at the stats after the game, 4.5 XG for Liverpool today, and I mean it's one of those ones where Ten Hag will probably come and say, lots of low quality shots, and he may well even have the opportunity to kind of quibble with the penalty that was given, because you look at the replay, there's actually zero contact, and Javier is very very
Horrible.
Successfully dragged his foot into Wan-Bissaka. But I don't know. That doesn't tell much of the real story of the game, does it? I mean, it was really United on the back foot, and 2 moments of absolute brilliance got us out of that one.
Sort of. I mean, I thought we had periods like the first 10, 15, and then a little bit in the second half where we look. I mean, but this is the thing, we keep saying this all the time. We are obviously complete wankers, but in a different expression, we're not total wankers. Like I found it really weird the way that Jamie Carragher was talking about this game. And also Gary Neville sort of joined in. And it feels like they go to the opposite ends of the commentating on your club spectrum, where Carragher is not even watching the match that's happening. He's watching the match that he really wants to be watching. He wishes he was watching. And Neville is just like, to stick the boot in to prove how balanced he is. And Carragher's like, God, Mo. There was a moment where you literally calls him, God, they do that, Mo. It's just like, I wouldn't even mind that. I don't care about partial commentary, particularly if it's good. And it isn't good. Yeah. And I think before this game, I said, I was chatting to a Liverpool fan at The Guardian. We were talking about how you're feeling about this, and he's like, obviously depends what you do. And I said, we're shit, but we've got some nasty attackers. We'll fuck you up if you get complacent. And that's a little bit of what happened, but it's not solely what happened, because ultimately, and I keep saying this on it, I'm going to say it again, this Liverpool team are not any good. They're better than us.
No, I don't think
this is not good. And they're nowhere near as good as Arsenal, and they're nowhere near as good as City. They might still win the league because they've got a very convenient run in. They've got that sense of messianism that they've had for a while. The Klopp has particularly drilled into them for this particular situation. It would be probably in my time of watching football unprecedented. A team like this to win the league. West Ham nearly won it in '86. They were in with that probably maybe the last time that a team where they're not the best or even the second best got really close to winning the title. But again, every time I look at the team when we play them, and I think, because we've been saying on here for a while that now we've got the attack in place to beat United. You should have to score twice. And that is basically what we're seeing. So when it is 1-0 and they're making out like it's easy for Liverpool, no point. I'm thinking if United stay in this game, United will definitely score at some point. And they did make it easy for Liverpool for a bit, and Liverpool should have been further ahead. But the idea that Liverpool are this fabulously talented team of geniuses and United are a bunch of mugs, and that's sort of how they present it, while still saying, they could be quite good on the counter, by the way, is like it to me, it isn't as simple as that. And if you swap the managers around, United would be higher than Liverpool in the league.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Look, this United team aren't mugs. There's a lot of,
they are mugs.
A lot of messiness. Howard. There's a lot of messiness to Howard. Yeah, I know. Depends what you mean by it, but a lot of messiness to how United play, and we seem to have we've gone through all these kind of cycles, both this season and over Ten Hag's tenure, and now we're at it's total chaos all the time stage. That said, Liverpool did miss 5 big chances today, however opt to define it. And that it is something of the story of that first half, when if Liverpool had taken their good chances, the game would have been dead and we'd be having a very different conversation.
Yes, and you're right, but we weren't sort of allowed to have this conversation about the cup game. When similarly, we were told, they thought they should have won the cup game. So, I mean, which is it? But yeah, I mean, Liverpool they're just not that good. I mean, looking back to United, I felt like there was a decision that Ten Hag had to make that I think he probably didn't think about that hard. Whereas, do you leave out one of the front three and put an extra Mason Mount in midfield?
Yeah.
And play 4-5-1. I mean, I don't imagine he thought about that for very long. I would definitely have thought about it for a while. But, this Wan-Bissaka on the left, I understand why he's there, but then he gets the ball in attack at kind of that inside left position, and you're like, gee, what the fuck is this? It's one of those bizarre things I've ever seen in 43 years of watching football matches. is one that could pick it up. And he's got not a clue what to do.
No, he doesn't, and he's only there effectively on the left to counter Mo Salah coming inside, isn't he? And that's all fine until you hack someone down in the 85th minute.
Talking of Salah,
I mean,
how many times was he unmarked at the far side of the box after a corner?
Yeah.
What are these dickheads doing? I don't get it.
Yeah, Nemanja Vidic was on the Premier League feed saying injuries aren't an excuse for how badly United defend. And I kind of come to that point. You should still have a structure, shouldn't you? And understand what to do in certain situations. It got better defensively in the second half when I assume Ten Hag has just told Casemiro to stop moving because he dropped a lot deeper.
When did he tell him that? About a year ago.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know.
He actually
just stay in the tight circle in front of the back four, and he was just much better.
He's like
as soon as he starts roaming,
like a click wheel, like one of those click wheels you have at school to measure a meter. I actually thought for about 20 minutes we got some running about from him, and then we got a really horrible performance from him where the passing was exceedingly suboptimal. But also, Alexis McAllister, I think he's a good player. But the way he's suddenly being spoken of now, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. No, I know. Sports Horn guys were poking fun at this week, saying, how have Liverpool been such geniuses picking out this player?
Oh, because someone tweeted it, didn't they? Someone tweeted it last week. I can't remember who it was. What an amazing signing they've uncovered.
Yeah. World Cup winner Alexis McAllister. Yeah, Klopp does this. He gets functional players, and I think Szoboszlai is probably better than functional, although he's dropped off somewhat. He had a good first half of the season, and he turns them into something much more than that. And McAllister in this Liverpool side seems to be a very good fit. It'll be interesting when Klopp's no longer there and they have a different manager with a different style of things. Whether he becomes a water carrier again or more of this all-round player. I mean, anyway, look, like Kobbie Mainoo didn't have his best game. Brilliant goal, by the way. And him and because of, where Bruno plays, him and Casemiro got completely overrun in that first half. And I just thought it was probably pretty sensible. He made some weird decisions with the substitutes, Ten Hag, but pretty sensible to go, okay, we can't give up another 19 shots. In the second half. And so Casemiro just sat in there, tried to give some protection, I thought. And it helped a little bit because at least then United could box defend, which they do reasonably well.
Yeah, they got some good blocks. And I thought Big Willie did all right as well, actually.
Big Willie, yeah, nice. Yes, he did very well. I mean, 19-year-old kid, second start. Yeah, did really good. So, and he's good defender, isn't he? I mean, he feels like a younger version of Harry Maguire, and sorry if that's an insult.
I do, yes.
He's not always that tidy on the ball, but I mean,
there was that one moment of classic Harry's though in the second half where he dribbles the ball out of defence like he's Beckenbauer. He can't work out where to pass it. He just stops like a lummox. Someone tackles him and they almost score. And it was just, one of those where you just like, classic Harry's.
There were
talking of defenders though.
Krambuala made one mistake, didn't he? Where he got he got caught on the ball and then got back and got
what he did that I really liked there was he didn't panic. He didn't go through him. He ran round the other side of him to cut off his path to the box, like the quickest path to goal. He went backwards to go forwards. That was actually quite a smart piece of thinking under pressure because he'll have been shitting bricks at that point.
It was, and you kind of figure if that had been, say, Dalot or Wan-Bissaka or one of the more brain-dead players, they would have hacked him down in the box, wouldn't they? And
I found Dalot, actually. I went to Chelsea the other night, and he did not have a good night. But in fairness, Cole Palmer played well and is a good player. But I thought he was good again today.
Yeah, he did all right. Nothing too dumb. I mean, after Chelsea, I it's kind of solidified my thinking that United are probably the lowest IQ team in the league. They're just so dumb.
The mad thing about that, though, was literally the mate I was with, we were seeing this out quite well for about 8 minutes. of the somehow 73 minutes that they conjured. Yeah. I mean, I'm big in favour of proper time management in football. It pisses me off. Never had it. I've no idea how they saw 8 minutes in a car for one goal, though. I mean, I know there was an injury for a bit, but I was definitely not expecting 8 minutes when that happened. But I think, again, at this point, the individual results don't. I obviously wanted to win today because it was Liverpool. You always want to win. But the individual results don't matter that much. It's more about the performances. And we're basically seeing the same performance all the time now. We can attack, which is more than we were saying before. But although we didn't make chances in the first half, the first 15, 20 minutes, it looked like we were going to score. And did you at any point, when it's 1-0, think, if they don't score again, they're going to win 1-0? And never.
No. And I think United, we saw with the offside, Garnacho's offside goal, that there were opportunities. I mean, Liverpool do play this high line and try and compress the game. And I felt there would be opportunities behind. As it turns out, there weren't many of those. We weren't able to play the ball through the gaps in their defence that often. But for sure, like right now, the way United play, we are creating chances. And look, you're glad that the half chances we do create fell to the right players today. Kobbie Mainoo with just composure anywhere. And Bruno with hit one of the flat ones, didn't he? The Hollywood ball into the.
But he's hit across it as well. It's a really fucking good finish. I mean, I enjoyed Quansah fucking it up as well, even though I think he might be good, because there was a massive Billy Big Bollocks flex from Klopp that you could pick Konate, and you're like, no, Billy Big Bollocks, I'm picking this child because he's good enough to go to Old Trafford and play. Nah, man. He's made the job's a massive bollock in front of everyone, and everyone's laughing at him and you. And not even because of your Newton and your hair job. But it was a brilliant finish from Bruno because he didn't try and hit it too hard and he didn't panic, and he did have to get it past the goalkeeper somehow. So, yeah, I mean, again with him, part of me is starting to wonder about the way football is going, where big lads have feet now. Is it even possible to control the game with Bruno and with players of Bruno and Mainoo's build? Let's forget about even their player description right now. Or are bigger lads just going to walk through you because they might not be as agile, but the feet are good enough and the difference in agility is overcompensated by the difference in power? And then, so I think, well, where's this team going long term? Because it's got Bruno, who's the captain and the fixture, and it's got Mainoo, who's a fixture. So then, because my thing with Mainoo, I don't know if it's him or if it's us or if it's both, is we just don't see enough of him. And is it because he's covering too much ground? Because also he's really good at the tackle as well, but we don't see enough of him doing that. But also, we don't see enough of him doing what we know he can do, like the goal he scored at Newport, and the goal he scored at Wolves. Brilliant goals. And we're not quite getting him on the ball enough. Like, he'll do every game, he'll do a few great things, but there seem to be then he's not having great games, I would say, at the moment. He's a bit of an adornment.
No, and I don't want to draw too big a picture from that one. I did find it a little odd a couple of weeks ago where there was this revolving discussion on Twitter amongst the stats nerds. Yeah. And like the guy had played like 7 full 90s at that point, and they were already deciding that he was no good.
Also,
and
Eric Ten Hag's picking him for Man United. Gareth Southgate's picking him for England. Every player, every ex-pro in the studio, everyone is saying this boy's fucking brilliant. But you've got a pie chart that says actually Matteo Guendouzi might be as good. Maybe you might be wrong. Have you considered that your pie chart might be wrong?
No, they haven't.
And it's just...
They haven't considered
you
that.
You can just see it when he plays.
Yeah. But coming back to your point, I think you're right. He's getting between sort of 35 and 45 touches a game, past his game, and he should have double that. And I'm not exactly sure why, whether it's maturity around understanding what position he is, the fact that he's in this kind of weird sort of space at the moment where his average position today is deeper than Casemiro's, although I think that basically switched in the second half. And you got to decide, what is he? Is he the link player? Is he the defensive midfielder? If he's going to be the defensive midfielder and kind of a Rodri style defensive midfielder, he needs to be on the ball 100 times a game and dictating that first phase of play. If he's going to be the link, then and him and Mason Mount rotate in that role between whoever becomes the defensive midfielder next season and Bruno, then fine. There are some structural questions, but for sure, we want him on the ball a lot more than he's getting on the ball. And I suspect part of it is he just has to cover ground for Casemiro, whose legs have totally gone.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is definitely that. He's in a donut team, basically, isn't he? And that's not conducive to getting your best players on the ball often. It's more about, can your best players make it tell when you get them the ball in good positions? I don't know if the solution is simply just get a big beast to come and replace Casemiro and that'll be it. Because I think, I'd still like to see Bruno in a team that worked properly, and this team clearly doesn't. And you see even that game today and you're thinking, how can the manager not be looking at this thinking, what is my coaching working? Because I just can't believe he wants it to look like that.
United are not very good, as the aforementioned stats nerds will say. United are not very good out of possession, and it starts from Darnesh of the hopefully soon to be tactics pod again. Has been saying a fair bit that United's pressing structure isn't right, and a few others are doing that too. And I suspect the lack of Lisandro Martinez is also impacting, to come back to Kobbie Mainoo, how United build up, because the ball's not coming into him quick enough, or if ever, in fact, United are building up in wide areas. Not very good out of possession, not particularly good in possession. And I have no idea really what Ten Hag wants to do, because I feel like this kind of transitional moment we're going through is something that he's kind of taken upon himself because he hasn't got the players he wants. But he might never have the players he wants because he might not be in the job if he can't show some kind of progress. Mind you, look at the next 5 games we've got. We've got Bournemouth, Coventry in the Cup, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, and one other. Right? It is a set of games where you'd expect United to be on top all of the time. Are we going to see a different style there, where we expected to have more of the possession, expected to win all these games?
So I guess what we're really talking about there is, are we going to see a midfield of Mainoo, Mount and Bruno? Is that really what we're saying?
Yeah, and I kind of hope we will. Yeah, it's basically what I'm saying. Yeah. If you're not going to try Mason Mount in these next 5 games, when are you?
Good foul from him earlier, actually, and I wasn't on.
Oh yeah, great.
To talk about his goal in midweek, but also that was. I mean, what a fuck of him that must have been. Oh my days. How long he's waited for that moment. And actually, no, man, it was better. Would have been better if you hadn't done it. It might have been 2-2. But something else I quite enjoy is Cody Gakpo is fucking wank.
Yeah, he's not particularly good.
Yeah. And Curtis Jones is, you know what, when you have your hair cut, right? And you always have that testy moment when you're in the chair, it's at the end, and the barber goes, do you like it? And you're obviously thinking, fucking no, pull it back. And what you actually say is, yeah, sound man. Curtis Jones has actually probably had that conversation with whatever on earth he's had done to him, which I thought it would not be possible to get worse than, what's his name? Harvey Elliott's grandma muff on head. But actually, Curtis Jones is absolutely grim behavior. And one other thing I thought before I forget is this goalkeeper of ours. So my new bugbear with him is the inability to get balls that should go around the post. He's sort of cleaned up some of it. He got away
twice today.
Got away with one at Chelsea in the first half. Can't remember what the shot was, but it should have gone around the post. It went back into play, and they almost scored. Again, as you say, like at least twice today. And
yeah,
it feels.
Did you notice him getting the Vaseline out? Apparently, this is a thing with goalkeepers now. It's something to do with making the hands more sticky.
No,
it seems counterproductive.
It's all, yeah. It's just, it's so rare that he saves anything, but if he does, might have to have a celebratory jostle.
Yeah, him and Bruno were having a chat about it. It's like, I was like,
Bruno, by the way, his interception at centre back was sensational behaviour, and the thing he that he does. I mean, I wonder if with better instructions, like the thing with I don't get with him is, so we see him pressing when probably he shouldn't be, and you hear the way he talks about the game, the way we see him see the game, and when he plays, it feels like knowing when to do it shouldn't be beyond him. It feels like he has the intelligence and the football intelligence to grasp these instructions, but hard to.
But so many of our players aren't getting it. So today we had Højlund pressing the goalkeeper. What was the point? He had 2 out every time. And against Chelsea, we had, and it was really unfair. Marcus Rashford, people clipped it and sent it around on Twitter going, oh, look, he's not working, in a kind of mid-block. Was he supposed to press at that point or not? Because it looked like he was being asked not to. And Bruno doing it on his own all the time, just wasting energy. By the end today, he looked dead, by the way, Bruno. He was absolutely shattered because he'd been playing at centre-back, number 10, and then ended up on the left wing. So, I mean, all of this kind of points to me, and I don't pretend to be a kind of tactics expert, but, me, the layman, looking at that going, doesn't feel like they are preparing very well for any of this stuff.
Does it not?
So, not really. And for me, that's like alongside the question of style and what is Ten Hag's style and what we're building towards, and does that fit with the new regime's plans or not? The other one is Ten Hag's response to the injury crisis, which he may well have perpetuated by the training regime and bringing back players back too early. His response to the injury crisis just appears to have been abandon everything you'd planned and embrace chaos.
And the injury crisis now, I mean, I guess it still is a problem because he doesn't have 3 of his back 4, his first choice back 4, but everyone else is available now. And
everyone else is fit except for the defenders.
And it just feels like there has to be a better way of deploying resources than what he's doing. And it's not that we don't understand the rationale, that you don't have the players to control midfield, you don't have your passing centre-back, so sort of try and not have the game be contested in midfield. But it's clearly, like we're miles below where we should be in the league, so it's not fucking working, is it? So can we have something? And it's just now, it feels like there's not a lot of progress. We're hoping for progress from individual players, but as a team, there's no progress. We're just watching the same game over and over again, and it's quite entertaining. Quite amusing quite a lot of the time. And if we've knocked Liverpool out of the cup, we did. We might help stop them winning the league. Hopefully we have. Then it's not without use, but it doesn't feel like we're building towards next season.
No, it doesn't. And that's, when questions of Ten Hag's future come about, that's the big question, isn't it? Because if you say he's never really had the opportunity to work in a real football club that's doing things the proper way, that is true. But 2 years and it feels less than the sum of the parts, and that's mostly on him, I think. And so big question marks. Yeah. But anyway, look, anyone but Liverpool, right? If he stops Liverpool winning the league and stops Liverpool giving Klopp his big send off, and in fact, we all have one Premier League title in 9 for Klopp and 1 in 33 years for Liverpool. I'm happy with that. That's job well done. 2 draws against Liverpool, taking 4 points off them and knocking them out of the cup. That's not bad, but that's kind of short-term thinking, isn't it? Not the bigger picture. And it's going to be a really tricky discussion for the new management team, because it seems like, if you read the tea leaves, at least the reporting, that they're prepared to give him another year because they don't want to make the big calls without Ashworth and Barada actually in place, and neither of them will be in place until the summer at least. It could be even later with Ashworth. And they would prefer to give the people that they're empowering to make those decisions, which is totally fair enough and the kind of thing you'd want from a mature, grown-up football club.
But it's also brilliant that the Glazers haggling for a few extra quid, even in that aspect of finally leaving our football alone. They fucked us over one last time, because them taking that amount of time is the reason why we're not going to have these nerds running things when we need them to be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. On that point, did you see this week that Sheikh Jassim's lawyers wrote a letter to the club demanding that they retract some of the statements that have been made? I guess specifically Jim Ratcliffe. yeah, exactly. I mean, it was kind of toothless. Demanding, it was some of the SEC statements that basically, the narrative that went alongside the tender doc, which basically said they never showed proof of funds, and then Ratcliffe joking with the BBC that Sheikh Jassim might not be real. All very funny. Of course, that is all spin. The truth is that if you look at the offers, Ratcliffe offered $1 billion more for the club. Right, $1 billion more if you roll it up to what is likely to be a full takeover in the next 3 years. So
that was what I did.
It's just more.
I didn't get the antipathy towards Ratcliffe. If you're not bothered about polluting Brexit and being Tory, then to me, he's the ideal owner of a football club, because he's a multi-billionaire who, it's an ego purchase for legacy. He wants to be the guy that makes United good again. Good. I'd like to be that guy too. That was literally what I would do with that money if I had it. And so, I mean, he might not be good. It definitely feels like a step in the right direction. And on this point, surely you don't pay 5 billion squad for a football club and then go put Gareth Southgate in charge. I can't believe that can happen. I can't believe you work with Pep Guardiola and you come to make United great again, and the first thing you do is you hire Gareth Southgate, who's even caught up with England until the middle of July. I can't see it, and I can't see it being Graham Potter either. I mean, real talk, I wouldn't have Thomas Franks either, but I'd have him a long time before I'd have those two, because at least he's got some attitude and some aggression. I can see the players might respect him and be encouraged to please him and do what he says. But I'd have him before I'd have either of those two, because if you're turning out with no achievements and no charisma, why are people going to listen to you?
They're not. And as soon as it goes wrong, the environment will get kind of toxic, and the players will do what they've done with every other manager, which is shit on them. So, I don't think that'll happen. I'm sure, I think the links are coming from Ashworth's relationship with Gareth Southgate at the FA.
It's definitely people in football think. There are definitely, United, there are definitely people in football that are pretty sure United are interested in Southgate. It might not be true. I haven't heard it from Southgate people or from United's people, but I've been told it.
Me and you have managed as many Premier League clubs as Gareth Southgate has in the last 15 years. So I just, zero achievements and zero going for it. And I just, whatever you think about what he's achieved with England.
Whatever you think United's style is, it's not his.
It's not that.
It is not, it's not reactive, cowardly football against crap teams. And also the thing with him is also, who's the best team his England team have beaten in competition? They've beaten nobody. In every competition, they've lost to the first decent or half decent team. And I think England are quite a good side. I thought that their game against France, that quarter-final, was the only match in that World Cup that I watched, and I thought this is a proper standard of football. Obviously, those are entertaining games, but the one where I thought actually these teams are good. There's a good level here, and it's obviously not his fault that Harry Kane smashed that penalty over the bar, but You can lose to France in the quarterfinal of the World Cup. It's quite hard to blame him specifically for that one. But the Croatia one, obviously they got smacked by France in the final anyway. But the Croatia one, it felt like they did take their chances in the first half, not his fault, but to just do nothing. To think that Croatia would just come out and play like that again, you'd steamrolled them, seemed very odd. And the way they went in their shell against Italy at 1-0 up, when it felt like you're the better team. Like if England play well, England win that game by a goal or two. And again, that didn't happen. And what he's achieved with these players, I mean, you can say that it's better than any other England manager has achieved, or you can say it's the bare minimum with the players that he's got. And the amount of money in the Premier League, the amount of money in English football in the training system is the reason why England are so good now, is that they have they're finally converting money spent into success on the pitch. And
Yep. And he's got Howard Wilkinson and the blueprint to thank for that, or something like that.
Howard Wilkinson gets engaged by Sunderland to go and find them a manager, and he comes back with a short list of one, Howard Wilkinson, and they actually appoint him. That was just, that was amazing, incredible behaviour.
It's good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, we've got no midweek game, so it's a week off. In fact, only one midweek game for the rest of the season. That'll be that Sheffield United game. So a lot of time on the training pitch for Ten Hag to sort out all his problems. Do you think he's going to do it?
Well, I guess one thing that he sort of said this in his interview afterwards is it is an opportunity for Big Willie now, because he's not expecting all the defenders back. So I guess.
He said, when old soldiers die, new ones come through.
Well, I mean, maybe that's a saying in Dutch or something, but in general, I don't think that's exactly how things work. But I mean, it's now a good opportunity to see if he's got anything enough to play to stay at United or to cover one of the 4 centre-back spots that you want.
I mean, it certainly saved United a lot of money because they're going to have a big refresh on the centre-backs. I mean, clearly, Rafa Varane doesn't stay fit enough to keep him. Questions over Lindelof and Maguire's quality, obviously, and Lisandro Martinez's ability to stay fit too. So we don't know refresh there,
we don't know about Martinez and Varane. You're right, difficulty staying fit, but might be someone that you keep as a third choice, right? To avoid having to sign.
Is he out of contract this summer? And I assume they have an option for an extra season, but they'd be looking to do it on much lower wages.
That's what they'll want to dock his wages, won't they? Which sort of seems fair enough. Doesn't seem to work that hard for them.
It seems fair enough. I mean, mind you, they gave David De Gea the option of that last summer, didn't they? And then, for a brief time until they withdrew the offer, and Big Dave said no and decided to stay a year on the beach instead.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure he's going to the beach. I think more chance he's like pulled the blinds down, darkened room, clear a sill, and some thrash metal or whatever it is.
That's it. Get Rage Against the Machine on. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, I guess that's it for the weekend pods. No midweek pods. I'll probably be back with Tom in midweek. We'll do a mailbag pod or something like that. There's the Champions League. Dan, do you want to do a piece for the backers and talk about the Champions League games coming up?
Let's do it. We also have a question to ask that I'm reading out now so we can come back to it. It's from FPL Frazier. Can you play extremely high possession, high defensive line football without making consistent, cynical tactical fouls? If you find a team that plays this brand of football without making those tactical fouls, let me know. City are the worst at making these fouls, but other high possession teams employ this strategy as well. Otherwise, their defense is wide open on counter-attacks.
Yeah. I agree. Guardiola and some of the City players complained about Arsenal doing this a couple of weeks ago, which was fucking rich, really fucking rich, since they invented it.
Basically. Well, doesn't every team? Yeah, every team does it. But if you need to kick someone up in the air, and then you do. And
I mean, Casemiro used to be the master of it, didn't he? And not just the kicking up in the air, but the slide tug.
And for Fernandinho was
to slow on,
like unbelievable at not getting booked for it. And the weird thing about Fernandinho, it wasn't like he was even schneid about it. He was just doing it in full view, and for whatever reason, the officials tended not to book him. But he was very good at that. But I guess the advantage of playing a high line is when you have to make those fouls, they're usually quite high up the pitch, so you're only risking a booking. But I mean, someone in the Old Firm game today, I think, got booked because of fouls accumulated by the team, which I've never seen apart from Ander Herrera. Chelsea that time, yeah.
Magic. All righty, backers, stay tuned. Everyone else will catch you in midweek.
Please.